Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Duel Screens Gamescast. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana, and with me, as always, he's in that other box and coming all the way from Seattle, Washington. He is Andy Esimakis. How are you, Andy?
I am doing fantastic, Stephen. Indubitably.
Indubitably. Oh, wow. You're using big words now. You get that Seattle skyline behind you, and all of a sudden, you're using big words. Big
dear God.
I am wounded!
Oh, come, Niles.
For those of you that are new to this show, this is the Duel Screens Gamescast. This is where we go over some video game news for you, and this show posts each and every Monday for your listening pleasure on your podcast service of choice, including our home, podbean.com. You can find it on Apple Podcasts as well, and if you do so, please leave us a review. It would help the show just exponentially. The more reviews, the more people get to see it, and all of that fun stuff. And you could also watch the video version on Tuesday nights on Twitch, on youtube.com/DuelScreensTV. And if you want to watch us record it live, please follow us on twitch.tv/DuelScreensStreams, which is what people are doing right now. That's what that chat scroll is below. It's all the people watching us right there live, baby. Before we get into the show, we also do another show, Andy.
Yes, we
and
do.
we've had some great guests recently.
We did, yes.
The Duel Screens podcast. That's our show that posts each and every Thursday, and that's an interview podcast where we bring on industry guests like developers, programmers, artists, voice actors, whatever it may be. If they're making video games, we try and get them on the show so that we give them a platform to tell their story. A lot of the behind-the-scenes people, unless you're like the big head honcho at like, you know, all these giant studios, you really don't get time in front of a camera to tell your passion. So we like to be the platform for them to do so. So go ahead over. It's the same exact channel. You don't have to subscribe anywhere else. You don't have to like anything else. It's all in the same thing, but just go back and you'll see tons of interviews. Well over 100. I think we're over 115 now at this point. So please go over and do that as well. And of course, as I mentioned, that posts each and every Thursday, also on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/DuelScreensTV. We are about to record our brand new seasonal show, Casting Call, where Andy and I are going to be casting video game movies, and we're also going to come up with the plots for those movies, and that's going to be a fun-ass show. I'm just waiting for the overlay, and once we have that...
I can't wait.
Indeed, it's going to be quite a mess. Once we have that overlay and that logo, we're going to start recording, and we're going to pump those bad boys out. We're going to do 10 of those. Bam, 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 bam. It's going to be great. And if you want to support us on Patreon, please go to patreon.com/NDS podcast. Just like our Patreon producers, FNH Paul and Colton, the Apprentice Nestler. We cannot continue to grow without all of your support. As little as $1 gets you in our VIP Discord, and it also gets you a bonus episode each and every month in which you vote the topic. So please, if you want to support us and the little podcasts of the world, please go to patreon.com/NDS podcast. All right, Andy.
Steven.
It is time.
Is it?
Yes. It is time to get into everybody's favorite future t-shirt. The Adventures in Gaming. Andy, what have you been playing?
Well, before I get into what I've been playing this week, I do want to mention one thing about my lovely backdrop and my obsession with Frasier. So I did watch some this past weekend. Just a little bit.
Just a smidge.
So they're on my hard drive, and I was like, you know, I really want to watch that dinner party episode. One of my favorite episodes.
Great episode.
Now, they're not labeled. So I was like, I'm pretty sure it's season 6, episode... I want to say 17. And to show you how my sick mind is, I was right with the episode number.
That's incredibly sad. And I feel
I've
sorry
been playing a lot of Marvel's Avengers lately.
The Avengers!
The Avengers in gaming.
Assemble.
So I can see why people love Destiny so much, is my first thought. But I do want to say that a lot of things are getting repetitive, and I'm doing the same stuff over and over and over again, it seems.
Yes, that is
the same kind of missions, the same kind of objectives.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. I like playing as... I maxed out-ish Iron Man level-wise. Power level, not so much. I'm working on Black Widow right now. The story is short. Kamala Khan is a darling of a character. Not a fan of her comic-wise, but in this story, she's good. But I can't wait to play this game on next generation hardware because I feel like this was a little bit held back by the current stuff, and it shows on the PS4 especially. Holy balls! The slowdown I get and the
Yeah.
glitches, the glitches,
Yeah.
so many glitches.
What I'm hearing from a lot of the people that have been playing the game, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but what I'm hearing is there's a lot of, oh, they'll fix that. Oh, those glitches, they'll fix that. Oh, you know, that frame issue, they'll fix that. The reason why I have not purchased this game yet is because I honestly don't think they will. I don't think those current gen issues are really going to get ironed out the way we think they are because they have next gen coming. And I think they're going to really lean into next gen the holiday season. They're going to want to sell this game as a launch title for the next gen hardware and really show off a really amazing multiplayer games of service Avengers game on next gen platforms. And I know that it's cross buy. Like I buy it on my PS4 and I can play it on PS5. The issue that I have, that the reason why I haven't pulled the trigger yet, for with that in mind, is I don't want to get to the point where I burn out on these games before the PS5 comes out. I'd rather play it on PS5 and then play the 2 or 3 months that I know I'm going to play the game nonstop, like I did with Destiny, like I did with Division. And any other games of service that I play. I usually play it a lot up front, but then I taper off because I don't really like doing those grindy, I need to find this chest piece because it's the chest, or I need the bone saber of Zuma Kalis.
Weekly missions.
Right.
For each character.
Right, like it's like, I got to do this raid in this level. Yeah,
it's a lot of stuff. The game has got a lot of meat to it, but it's all the same flavor. And I really feel like it was, let's get this game playable on current gen hardware,
right,
as best as possible.
It looks good though.
It does.
It looks really pretty.
But there's times where, and the game throws a ton of shit at you at once. Turrets, lasers, like 50 mechs. It's like, it's a lot. And it slows down dramatically when shit gets really intense. And I feel just, okay, let's get it in a good, playable, stable state for the current gen release, and then we'll just focus on making it the best game possible for the next gen hardware, which, again, I can't wait to play it on my PS5.
Yes, but also that is the design philosophy behind games of service anyway.
Right.
It's get it out the door, make it playable, give them about 10 to 12 hours of stuff to do, or maybe 15 hours of stuff to do, and then 6 months down the line, we're going to give them another 5-6 hours of stuff to do. And then a few months after that, we're going to give them another 5 or 6 hours of stuff to do. But like new stuff to do, not just stuff in general, because you can continuously play the stuff you're playing to continuously get better and better loot. You could always do that. I hate when they hit the reset button whenever there's like this big content drop. Like Destiny, it's like, oh, you were max level this, and I fell off the game, and then it's 2 DLCs later, and like what they started to do was like, oh, well, we're just gonna bump you up to the next light level so like you don't have to do all that stuff before. And you're like, and then like half the mechanics changed on how loot works. And you're just like, I don't have time. I don't have time to study a fucking patch note so I know how the game is now functions completely differently from when it launched, because you realize it launched like it was stupid, the way you do loot and stuff like that. And what I'm hearing from people is that the loot grind, or not the things you're doing to grind the loot, but the actual loot itself isn't even fun to do, because all you're doing is making numbers go up. They only change the appearance of the characters.
They don't.
So you're really just doing it so that your number could go higher. What is the number going higher for? Oh, so that you can do higher level stuff. Well, why are you doing higher level stuff?
To get
so
the
you can
higher
get
level
more.
loot.
So that you can get the higher number, so that you could go do the other thing. So it's like, for me, that loop gets really fucking boring after like maybe 2 months of playing the game. And that also would take me into next gen, and then what do? I play next gen. I'm like, whatever.
Some of the skins, like the cosmetics, aren't even worth it.
Well, the cosmetics are cosmetics. Like some of them
look
cool, but like,
listen, why am I grinding a mission or like waiting for like these specific cosmetic based missions as rewards, and it's just a palette swap?
I mean, at least it's some sort of carrot at the end of the stick. Like
it is. It's a slightly grayer Gray Hulk. It's Kamala
Right.
Khan in the same outfit but without her mask. I was like, come on, man,
Right.
really? And those are random too. Once I got like 4 Hulk outfits in a row. I was like, come on with Hulk. It was 4 of the same exact Hulk with a little minor. It's like shiny Pokemon, like shiny Pikachu. It's like
Right.
let's say a different hint of yellow is different.
Right.
It's a different,
Right.
yeah, different hue.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm definitely, if I see their roadmap and they're gonna launch on PS5 with a deluge of new content for next gen, if they are going to do that, then I will jump in now. But if I'm telling you, I'm going to burn out on this game, and I'm going to be like, I don't want to fucking play this anymore.
And I think,
plus, I don't want to play that alone either, and I don't
exactly,
want to play with randos.
That was my next point. The matchmaking is semi-broken unless you have your friends, a good squad to go in with.
Right.
It's not worth it.
I mean, I watched somebody stream it, and they had people get kicked out of the thing. The AI takes over their character. They're like, oh, I can't get in the room. It keeps kicking. All right, I'll cancel and we'll restart it. Okay, then you restart it, and then the same thing happens to the same person again. And then there was another mission where the boss didn't spawn. There was like a glowing orb on the screen where the boss is supposed to spawn. And he was just like, oh, yeah, it glitched out again. I think this mission's broken. So I asked him, I was like, and he's a streamer that gets like, I don't know, maybe 150 to 200 people in his stream. Mm-hmm. So I asked him, I was like, does this happen often? And he's like, about 20% of the multiplayer missions do this. 20%. Where the boss, they just can't complete it because the boss won't spawn. It's weird. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I want to give it until the end of September. And if they're going to launch the new console or the next gen version of this, and pump new content into the game right from there, even if it's just an extra couple of hours, and they fix some of those bugs for next gen, I think I might jump in earlier on PS4 and then just get it and
listen,
just cross
the
it over.
Game's a huge success as it is right now. It's sold. It's the top seller in UK, beating out the recent Tony Hawk and the new NBA game.
Yep.
So listen, the Marvel brand is strong, and I think Square Enix knew this. Like, it can be semi-broken and busted in little ways, but it'll still make a lot of money. So the patches will wait indefinitely, I feel, for this game.
We'll see.
And what about you? What's on your docket lately?
Spellbreak came out.
Oh, yes. How was that?
It's a lot of fun. It is tough. I got 2 wins on my first 2 matches. Mm-hmm. The first match I think might be all bots. So that was fine. I'm pretty sure it's mostly bots. The second match was, I think, mostly bots until the final circle, and then it was a tough fight. Like, another squad was really trying, but we wound up winning. And then after that, we got into tough firefights off the beginning. So I think they kind of ease you into it because it basically plays like Infamous.
Ooh, I like that comparison a lot.
Yes, it is.
I'm really into that.
It is Infamous Battle Royale. That's what it feels like. The only thing I feel like that's missing from it that I really want them to throw in there is personality. The game is just voiceless, nameless, or not nameless, but voiceless.
No personality, no charm, no.
They're just wizards. Yeah, they're just wizards. They don't have a voice when they shoot anything. They don't go, well, there's Steven, nothing like that.
I think you'd be pleased to know you can soon enough audition those skills of yours, and we have the Spellbreak dev on our show. Yeah, in the next 2 weeks, great. They are confirmed coming on.
Oh, excellent. Okay, yes, I'll definitely ask him. So that's really. And I want more feedback from when we were doing damage, because right now there are numbers that pop up, but they're so small sometimes. Because you'll be slinging spells across the map, right? But when you hit them, you just see their little health bar going down. That's the only indication that you're actually hitting them. I want more feedback. Like in Apex Legends or Call of Duty, when you hit somebody, you hear like you hear it hitting their body. You know, I just want some more tactile feedback for when you're actually hitting them. But yeah, it's basically your 4 shoulder buttons are your attacks. So you go in, you choose a class that you want to be. I do the poison damage. So you get 1 gauntlet, you have 2 attacks to start, and there's it's basically a light attack and then a heavy special attack. They have cooldowns and all that stuff. Like, you have a mana bar and cooldowns. and then you could pick up any of the other gauntlets of the other powers. So you're combining. So I'll do poison and then fire, and when you throw the poison cloud, which is the heavy attack or special attack, you could then launch a fireball at it and set the gas on fire. So you're doing a lot of combos.
Real world science, like physics in this thing right now. Like,
yes. The other chemistry? Thing, the coolest one I saw was using the wind tornado attack and then throwing fire in it and making a fire tornado. It was so cool looking. It's a lot of fun. I just feel like what they need to do is just add that charm, that personality. Like even like Fortnite doesn't have that really. Fortnite are quiet characters, but for some reason the universe has more life to it. You hear you hear more of the world around you almost. This is like it's quiet until. Do I hear somebody? I think I hear somebody throwing spells. Oh shit, he's right here, and you're just like flying all over
at me right now.
Basically. I think the firepower, which is it's hard to hit somebody with, but it is way too strong. Like you getting hit with a fireball, you're like 50% of your health gets taken out right away. But yeah, so I played that this weekend. Also, I streamed and played Karen on Wednesday.
The Outrage Simulator, yes.
I completed my normal run. That game is surprisingly, like, I know that we had the devs on the show, which that is the most recent Duel Screens podcast. So if you want to go back and watch or listen to that episode, you could go down there. You can find out all about the devs that made it. It's really, really smart. Like it's well written to the point where we had one mission in the grocery store with the masks, and I had to do it like maybe 6 or 7 times, maybe more, because I just could not figure out like the best way to attack the woman that was standing her ground and not letting me shop. And I was doing it with a chat, and the chat was like, "Oh, no, you have to do this." And we do that, and we're like, "What the hell? Why is it, so like we were really going back and and of course, that's the mission that has the flashback scene where you know how she became a Karen, which is just really great.
God, she has an origin story. I love it.
She has an origin story. Yes, she was once an innocent, sweet woman.
I'm sure she was.
Something happened to her that turned her into a Karen. But if you have like 2 hours to spare, chat, and $3, Karen and Outrage Simulator will make you laugh. It does it pokes fun at sort of what we know about. It's almost not it's not even just poking fun at Karens. It's poking fun at the people who enable or broadcast the Karen. There are boss fights, kind of, and it's great when it happens. Like you're like, oh shit. I mean, it really is great. I like it. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
It is time, of course, Andy, for a minute of Apex starting now. Ladies and gentlemen, Apex Legends, there was a big kerfuffle. So when Season 6 started, they did this thing called, they made every shield an Evo shield, which means the more damage, when you do damage, your shield will level up in level, right? So you start off with a level 0 white shield, you do 50 damage, and it becomes a level 1 white shield, you do another 100 damage, it becomes a blue shield, and so on and so forth. And but the issue is they lowered the value of the shields so that you get a red shield, which is the highest level shield, a lot quicker. So that means that people were getting their full body shields quicker, and people were dying a lot quicker. So the hardcore community got really upset about this because it was basically curbing their meta. They no longer could be sweaty, which is like killing people very quickly. But they reverted the shield values. So now it's still Evo shields, but the values are back to normal. And that is a minute of Apex.
Fantastic. Good job, as always.
That was exactly
that's
1 minute.
Hit me up. High value content right there.
All right, Andy. Hit me up with the indie news update. What do we got?
Steven, we're going back to PAX, baby.
Woo! Here we go.
PAX Online is happening next week. And I got to say, I love this format. We can book appointments and interview developers all in the virtual space. Now, there's one thing I want to add to this little news announcement.
Oh,
I saw
Yeah.
some shit that I had
some
to
shit go
have an
down?
NDA signed.
Oh, okay.
I was given a link to a trailer for a
Oh
next
my.
gen game, a
Oh,
exclusive next gen game
exclusive
on one particular console.
on a particular platform.
It's
Sure.
first party,
First party particular
and I
platform.
can't talk about it for a very long time.
Boner alert.
But it was fun. I was like, I love this whole thing, and I hope when E3 comes back, if it does come back, I don't think it will, to be honest. But if it does come back, do a little online thing like this for those who can't go to your thing in person.
For those who don't have like $15,000 to go to your thing.
Right.
Yeah. This is going to be awesome. We didn't do a panel. We should have, but we really didn't know what our situation was going to be with our jobs, with it, because PAX. We didn't know the time that PAX was going to be up.
Right.
We didn't know that they were going to go as late as 9 p.m. We had no idea that was going to happen.
That's actually kind of cool too. That's gonna go
Yeah.
to the wee hours during the week.
And they said it was going to be the week, but they're also doing Saturday appointments. Like, we just had no idea. So we're like, I won't know if I'm not going to have a job.
Yeah.
If I don't have a job, great. We could do all the interviews in the world.
Yeah,
But now
sure.
that I have a
Stack 'em
job,
up.
now that I have a job, I can only do evening appointments while you can do whatever appointments you want by yourself. Are they booking only like 15-minute appointments? How are the appointments working?
It's half an
What
hour.
are the-
It's half
half
an
an
hour
hour,
plus
that's
you
good.
get a key to the demo to play also.
Nice, very nice. That's smart. Are they giving the demo beforehand or after?
Before and after, whenever you want it. It's like, here, you signed in, cool, we'll give you a demo before the interview, and then you can keep
Cool.
playing it up until.
That's cool. Yeah,
And
that's great.
There's one game that I'm looking forward to the most interviewing, and that's for Ghost Runner. Have you seen that game? Do you know that game? It's like
yes.
a first person Mirror's Edge plus Ninja Gaiden, basically.
Yeah, I think I did see that one.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
So there's speaking of game codes and all that stuff, we are giving away 2 game codes on this show live. So it's imperative for you to follow twitch.tv/Duel Screen Streams, because we give away games all the time. And we actually got codes for our next guest on the Duel Screens podcast. Andy, do you want to speak about that real quick? Because that is also an indie game that could fit in this little news here.
It's a game called Smash Ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, tabletop hockey, but with robots. That's
right.
That's all you know. It's a 1v1 or 2v2. So we have 2 codes. So 2 of you, and then each of us will play to the death.
Indeed. So chat right now live on twitch.tv/Duel Screen Streams. I just opened the raffle. You press !raffle and you're going to be entered to win. We're going to give one away after our 3rd news story, and then one after our news story is up.
You know the rules.
We finish our news.
You can't get a code. That's how the rules go.
Right. If your name is Buzz Killington, you do not get a code. And these codes are for Steam, I assume, correct? Is that correct?
For Steam, correct.
Okay, yes, these are Steam North America codes. So, folks, if you're not watching the show live, you should. Twitch.tv/Duel Screens Streams. Okay, so let's get into the Duel Screens report.
A little Jim Carrey-ish. I think you just did.
What's that?
A little Jim Carrey. I got some Jim Carrey shades in that.
Indeed. Yes, our first news bit, Andy. Why don't you take us into our first news bit?
We got a direct from Nintendo that wasn't about third-party partner games. It was actually about Nintendo first-party stuff. Came out of nowhere, and it was all about Mario and his 35-year anniversary. There were some good things here, some bad things, and some ugly things.
Some strange things.
There were things that were just uniquely Nintendo. It was Nintendo being Nintendo through and through this entire thing. But let's get into it. So, one of the first things we saw was Mario 3D Land plus Bowser's Fury.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's one of the last great Wii U games now is coming to the Switch.
Yep.
With a little extra something. I'm not sure what Bowser's Fury is. It's like a new mode or a new level or a new land. But
it kind of came across as an expansion. Yeah, that's the way it came across. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, cool, I'm all for that. I love that game. And I'm sure you as a cat lover also love the game. It's all about cats. You know, you know,
We love that cat suit, man. Let me tell you.
a little bell, a little bell.
Um,
So we also saw something that made me wish I lived in a bigger house.
oh yes. This is my favorite thing from the direct.
Yes, mine too. And again, it was awesome to see it, but I'm like, man, I have a small, tiny house and a dog that would wreck this. That was this Mario Kart thing. And
Yeah.
let's see what the full name of it actually is. The full name and price. Hold on.
Mario Kart
Home Circuit. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit.
I was gonna say live, but yeah, Home Circuit. Yep. It's cool, man. It uses AR like 4 little like flags almost, and remote control cars that are controlled by the Switch, and you're driving through your house and you're doing races and like whatever you're doing on the Switch, it'll be represented on the actual track. So that's really cool. Like you can have. I don't even think about this to do it at home really, unless it uses your home Wi-Fi, which could be a thing. Like the cars hook up to your Wi-Fi and your Switch hooks up to the Wi-Fi, and that's how it's communicating. But if it communicates direct Switch to remote control car, then it would be so cool to have these in the park, right? Like
hell yeah.
Have like circuits in the park, do all custom courses and stuff like that. It just looks really cool. It looks very, very Nintendo. Like this is what I love about Nintendo, is that they love to take risks like this with Amiibo, and they love to make
adventure that paid off for them in a huge way.
They keep proving that they know toys, like they're a toy company, and when people used to argue, no, they're a video game company, they're a technology company. They just happen to shoehorn technology and video games into their toy business. Like if you look at Mario is the video game is the kind of like the base layer of the pyramid, but everything that makes up why Mario is Mario is everything they pile on top of it. It's the bed sheets, it's the toys, it's the all of that merchandising and the television shows and like all that stuff just kind of piles on top and makes this beautiful pyramid. But everything's kind of the base level is the video game, but a lot of people only see the top. A lot of people only see the merchandise that's on the wall at GameStop, and then they know that it's a game, but they only see that top level stuff. And when you have stuff like Labo, or you have something that speaks to the creative side or the play that we all have, like it's a
creativity, not just the actual
right
games of it. Yeah, and again, you can make your own courses in this, which is nice.
Yeah,
invite your friends over. I feel like if Hot Wheels is still like a major thing, this is like the evolution of that idea of taking little toy cars, and now you can remote control them with cameras on them and make your own tracks and invite friends over to play. It looked really, really fun. It's $100. It launches in October, I think, of this year. I think that was
I missed that part, but there was a Facebook post in one of the groups that I'm in that was talking about it. They were questioning how it was going to work, like I was saying, like Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or whatever. And somebody commented and said, "I'm actually a developer that worked on this project," and you click his name and you look him up. Yes, he did. He was part of the studio. But he said the technology, when they reveal how it works, people are going to be blown away. And I'm really excited to see how it works, because it could be something so crazy cool that we're not thinking of. And Nintendo loves to do that kind of thing. So
crazy cool.
What else do we got?
You got that Game & Watch anniversary thing with the LED screen. I was like, yay. That's more of a collector's thing, I'll admit.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
It's cute, like I get it. It's more celebration, more fanfare, more like you put on your shelf, maybe you play every once in a while, but whatever. We can move on from that one. It was fun and all, but it's okay.
It looks cool though.
Yeah, it does. Then we got, of course, Mario All-Stars coming to Switch Online. It's going to add this NES game. Is going to get more of those at some point. Here's one more.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. We never got in the States, and I could be completely wrong, but we never got the SNES version of Super Mario 2, the Doki Doki Panic, or Doki, whatever it was, right? Doki Doki Panic, yeah.
Well,
that version in those sprites, right?
You're talking about Lost Levels?
No, I'm talking about Doki Doki Panic, the one that
the Japanese game that they based off
our Mario Brothers 2 that we got, not Lost Levels.
Yeah, we never got Doki Doki Panic because that was a Japanese game.
That's not what I'm saying. This game has the SNES sprites version of Super Mario Brothers 2.
Correct.
We never got that in the States.
We got that with Mario Brothers All-Stars.
I don't think so. Wasn't Mario Brothers All-Stars 1 Lost Levels and 3 and World?
No, it was all 2 was in there.
I don't remember 2 being in that. I could be wrong,
you just
but
don't want to play it.
I just
I can see that. Like, you didn't play it because you didn't care for it, and you just kind of like.
No, I love 2. That's why.
So why would they redo 1's assets and not redo part 2?
Because they had Lost Levels. That was the collection on SNES. I think they gave us Super Mario Brothers 2, the Lost Levels, in the updated sprites as a way to complete that collection because Japan didn't have they had Doki Doki Panic. They didn't have Super Mario Bros. 2. So like for them, this is the Super Mario Brothers canon that they were trying to push. And I think it was later that they upgraded. And I'm going to look this up while you talk about the next thing.
I'm going to do a quick fact. But you look it up. That's fine. That was cool. That it was released the same day as the Direct. Awesome, great. More things to play on the Switch Online. Just add some more stuff soon, please, because it's going to get ridiculous now with these updates. But that was fun. And then we got into some other weird things. Now, the first thing I want to get into is Mario 35, which was it's Mario 1 Battle Royale.
That was my second favorite thing.
Right. It was up until the asterisk caveat at the end, which I don't understand what's happening, but we'll get into that in a second. So it's basically you're playing Mario Brothers 1, and as you play through the level and you're beating enemies and progressing, you send enemies to your opponents who are also playing at the same time as you are. And, the goal is to knock out your opponents who are also playing, and then the best Mario wins, just like the Tetris Battle Royale game, 99, for example. And when I saw this, I was very excited about this game. Because it's like, it's online, but not online. And it kind of makes like the original game even more challenging with throwing random stuff and different things at you based on how others are playing in the game.
It makes sense. And to go back to our previous conversation, yes, it did have the upgraded graphics. I just don't remember.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
This makes sense as to why they had that takedown of 100 Marios.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah, there was an actual Battle Royale
mod that made a Mario where it was just 100 Marios jumping on the screen. Everybody was doing their own, but
or they were like, "That's a good idea. Let's take it down and do our own."
I imagine, because this was like 2 years ago that I think 100 Marios was out. I imagine they already had Tetris 99 and they were thinking of doing something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's what it is. It's really Tetris 99 for Mario.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome. It looks like a blast. I'm going to get my dick kicked invertedly.
Like but Mario Maker, like on crack, like just going through a level that some asshole kid made, it's just throwing random shit at you, like Koopa shells and Spinies, and
well, they looked like normal levels, right? Like
right.
That's what they looked like. They looked like the levels but everything's getting modified on the fly because everything you kill goes into somebody else's screen,
right?
And you can choose, just like in Tetris, you could choose. Oh, do you want to be I don't know, going for badges or going for attacking or defense, or I don't know. I don't remember exactly what it said on the screen, but it's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. This is a digital only game that's going to launch on October 1st, but it's only going to be playable until March 31st of next year.
Yes.
And
do you know why, Andy?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? That's the $1,000 question.
I know why.
Oh, you've heard from someone from Uncle Nintendo? He told you why?
I do know why. It makes sense. It makes sense.
Guessing at this point.
No. It just makes sense. because that's when Mario 36 is going to be coming out.
Oh, and that's
so they're just gonna revamp it
the following of the same year,
March of the next year. Yeah, that's what they're gonna do.
Seems weird to me. If that's the take, just say, hey, here's a brand new update for this game we just did.
I know, and that's probably what it's gonna be. They're just gonna they're probably gonna add more like styles to it or whatever and repackage it, or they're just gonna fucking close down the Switch servers like they did for Wii. They're just gonna be like, no, that's the end. That's when the Switch 2's coming out, fucks.
Now you see, I can buy that theory 100%. Like, we're gonna have this for a limited time, just for Mario's anniversary. It's gonna come and go really quickly, and if it does well, maybe we'll do another game, or we'll do a huge update under a brand new title after this goes away in March of next year. What I can't get behind is the same idea put towards this next announcement.
Yeah, I
Mario 3D All-Stars. We're getting Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy 1 only for $60, digital and physical releases, but only until March of next year. I don't understand this at all.
Yeah, neither do I.
Even the fact, the price tag alone sort of boggles my brain, because we've had Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, 3 games remade completely from the ground up for current-gen hardware at $40 at launch. We've had Devil May Cry, 3 games up-resed for $30 when it launched.
Yeah.
How are you going to get away with charging me $60?
Don't forget about Medieval.
Mario 64, yeah, that was one, $40.
That was one game.
Also a budget game. That was a remake. How are you going to charge me $60 when your first game on the docket, Mario 64, is not even a widescreen game?
Yeah, it wasn't even touched.
Right. And you're missing Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
Who's defending this? Is what I want to.
I don't. Well.
And they are.
Yeah. Well, people are going to defend, what they love, and that it is what it is. The reason that they are doing this is because they can. That's it. It's because people want this on their Switch, on the go, and they will get it, and they will pay for it, and that is why they're doing it.
Yeah, I don't like it. Like, it's very cynical to me. I don't like this. We're gonna have this weird FOMO thing going on, where if you don't buy it now, you're never gonna own this thing ever. People are buying this game, pre-ordering it, and putting up eBay listings of it now for $100.
Yeah, I wonder if they, maybe it wasn't always supposed to be $60, but maybe COVID kicked so many games out of holiday that they need to make up some money there. Maybe.
What about the Animal Crossing money? What money are they making up, dude? Nintendo, seriously, at this point.
No, I mean, when you have your investor meetings, right? You say, here's what we have on the slate for holiday. Sure. You list 3 games, and maybe all 3 of those games got kicked out because of COVID. And you say, okay, well, Mario was the collection was going to release at $39.99. We're going to bump that up to $59.99. And that'll push us through the holiday season. We're also going to have these other games, the 3D World, whatever the fuck.
I'd be inclined to buy that line, but Nintendo has always charged full price for even their deluxe re-releases on the Switch. And they don't lower their prices for decades either. So I don't buy that it was a COVID thing or a financial straits thing for Nintendo. It's just them it's what they get away with always. We can charge this much and people will buy it. And now there's a timestamp on this release that'll make even more people want to buy it. And that is a dangerous practice. And I hope no one else copies this. I'm all for companies looking to each other for ideas, right, and innovate things that they've done. PSN Plus had free games, and Microsoft did that. Great, everyone wins in that scenario. It's awesome. Mm-hmm. But I don't want this. Oh, we can do this. Have this game come out for $60 for a month, and all the people will buy it because they'll miss out on it. Right. I don't like that at all. Don't like it. And it should not be defended by anyone, especially at that price tag. And you're missing Galaxy 2. Where the fuck is Galaxy 2? Inexcusable.
Yeah, that's the other part I don't really understand at all. All right. So that was the direct.
Ain't over. I mean, great direct, great content, great games. I love Mario stuff. I'm into that. That actual real life kart thing. Like, we're all big kids, Steven. We love toys.
Mm-hmm.
We're into that 100%. But that just totally, like, it just took me out of it. Like, total deflation of my excitement.
It was just I feel like they literally closed off Nintendo from the world.
Mm-hmm.
And have just been operating in this bubble where they just don't understand what's happening around them, and they're working autonomously. They're in their own little ecosystem. They created their own ecosystem. They are just not touched by anything around them, and these are the decisions they make because of that. It's almost like when you say, oh, this press release was tone deaf. Like, that's what it feels like. It feels like they're just not paying attention to anything going on around them.
The focus group announcements, dudes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Moving on.
All right, yeah, moving on. We did get some other reveals this week, Andy, and that is Nvidia's new RTX cards, the 3000 series.
Oh my God, so sexy.
This has set the world on fire because the power that these motherfuckers have in these cards.
There was like,
did you see
90 teraflops? They just flopped that dick on the table.
There was so many flops. Do you see the size of the 3090?
Yeah.
It is the size of, like, I don't even know.
I think AMD is shitting themselves right now.
The craziest thing about these things is that the cheapest one, the 3070, is going to be $300. I think it was $300 or $400.
Right.
Sorry about that.
They're serving you the lobster of hardware at like the dollar menu price, basically.
Right. Yeah. So the specs here. Let's talk about the specs here.
Let's talk about specs, baby.
With twice the FP32 units,
mm-hmm.
the RTX 3090 has 10,496 CUDA cores. The 3080 has 8,704, and the 3070 has 5,888 cores. Memory capacity is 24 gigabytes, 10 and 8 gigabytes of DDR6X or DDR6 respectively. The performance here, the 3070 can outperform the RTX 2080 Ti. So, and the 2080 Ti, I believe, was the car that people were buying up for like $1,200 now, and that's going to be it's $499. So that one is going to be $490. It's $500. It's less than half what people are paying for the card, the highest end 2080 Ti series.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the biggest one is a beefy $1,500. So you're still investing quite a bit in a PC, but like,
right?
Oh, and you're getting 8K,
right? But I feel
60 frame.
Those who make this investment are set for years to come.
Yeah, at least. I feel like the 3080 coming in at $700. Depending on whether or not my motherboard and like the cooling I have already in there is good for it, like I don't have to upgrade anything else. Maybe the power, probably the power. But if I invest like another maybe $900 into my computer, I feel like the 3080 is an incredible value for the money, like an incredible value. But yeah, people were going absolutely crazy for this thing. Let's look. I want to find the teraflops. I want to find them.
That's how we talk about specs with our next gen console. Then Nvidia's like, well, here's a bunch of stuff that basically, in their eyes, or in the PC master race world, like just makes everything that's coming out console wise obsolete out the gate.
Right. Now, like any of these things, when they come out, you're gonna see people slowly, like, take advantage of it. It's not going to be a thing where out the door everything's going to be in 8K, 120 frames with fucking ray tracing and water that makes you actually feel wet in the face. Like that stuff's not going to happen instantly, but still, the future is bright for PC gaming. If you're looking to upgrade this, and the prices for the 2080 Ti, Andy, went from $1,200 to $1,400 to $400 and $500 right after this announcement.
I think when you have Microsoft making a big push of putting all of their first-party stuff on PC, with Sony saying they're open to adding more of their first-party library on PC, and with this amazingly priced hardware coming out, I think it just makes sense to invest in a really good gaming PC. Like, now's the time. If you're a gamer, you can have almost everything you can ever want to play on your PC, with a few exceptions, of course.
Yeah,
making that your primary place to play video games. Yeah,
Andy, let's go into the next story.
So this is a sports story, which is odd coming from someone like me because I don't like or play sports games at all. But Madden 2021 is a hit, huge hit, despite being apparently garbage.
It's football, man. It's COVID.
Right.
People want their football back.
When they get their Madden fix. So this is more of like me asking you to explain this to me. I'm gonna give you a few choice facts here. So Madden 21 is out. It is the lowest aggregate score of any Madden game ever. It currently has a 1.3 Metacritic user score.
Yeah, those don't count.
Well, I'm sure they don't. But it was at one point the 2. To which I think one of EA's managers said, "Oh, 2's better than 1."
That'll do it. Yeah,
that'll do it. And you have to explain to me, because I get the COVID. I understand that in this time especially, but even prior to what's going on in the world today, Madden always sold well consistently year over year.
Yes,
with incremental updates.
Yes. Now
I know in this one people love this new yard mode that's included in it. But I just don't understand why, if this game is being lambasted by even like IGN and every prominent review site, like 5 and 6 scores out of 10, more or less, why are people still buying this?
Because it's the only.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the answer. It's the only way you can play NFL licensed football game. Yeah. That's it. That's the only reason. And that's why for years people have been saying this is awful. It's awful that EA was able to do that. Awful. And people are like, "Oh, Madden's great. What does it matter? Now they can focus on,
football, dude."
Awful, dude.
See, this goes
awful for the business, awful for the industry. Terrible.
When people talk about like attach rates with software, like you have 112 million PS4s out there, but like that big first party game has like a 4 million sales in day one. And It seems like, shouldn't that be higher? But people don't understand that most folks buy a PS4 or an Xbox and just play the same 5 games: Madden, FIFA, Call of Duty, and that's it. That's all they ever play.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
It doesn't inspire anyone to make the game better. It's like, we can keep this mediocre as shit and get by, and it's going to sell better than our last game did
I highly doubt that developers are saying we can make this shit game and put it out.
Listen,
I think what it is,
you can train out trash and we'll still make $1 million. They're not saying that specifically.
No, what I think is happening here is the executives up top, they know Madden's coming out. They could count on money. They count the dollar signs, whatever. Then the people making the game, making the decisions, and putting up on the big whiteboard what they want to do with the game, they probably color code it.
Sure.
This is safe. This is risky. This is really risky. And then the people at the top go, people are going to buy this shit anyway. Get the risky and sort of risky stuff out. Do the safe things, the incremental stuff. Do the safe stuff. And eventually what happens is... I think the reason why this game is suffering is because next gen was already on the horizon. Like, they were already working on next gen shit. So I think it's just what happens, you know. Instead of the games getting better at the end of the console generation, these annualized sports games have to look to the next one. That's why it wasn't Madden. What was it? NHL. NHL said there is no next gen game this year.
Right.
There's no PS5 version of NHL 21. It's not happening. So you know that what they did was put all of their effort into this year's game, while a small team is taking a look at the new hardware and starting to work on innovating for that one. So at least you know, when it comes to these annualized games, that theoretically it should be building blocks. It should be going up, right? You should be building upon the next thing.
I would hope so. I just feel like they're being told at some point, as little as possible is like the overall mentality when you're working on the next version of this game year after year, and it gets consumed like crazy. And then you want to we play so many indie games on this show, and we've heard tales of people struggling to like make ends meet, like people going bankrupt or like trying to get like just $5,000 on a Kickstarter and they can't make it. And then here you go, just uninspired. Again, I'm not a sports guy. I won't understand it. I mean, you have to play the new sports game. I get it. But at least make it a good game. Like, when you get a 5 or a 6 out of 10, something is not right. Something is wrong.
They can't delay them, right? Like, they can't delay these games. They have to come out. So I want to address Buzz in the chat. He's saying that zero effort went into NHL's game this year. It's literally the same one. It's 20. It's the exact same. That is because 20 was bad. So they iterated on a bad game in small, insignificant ways.
You can't really say, okay, this was bad. Can we make it at least good?
Right. Like, it was... I hated the changes they made in 20. And maybe even it was 19 that was really the first one that kind of shit the bed. I feel like 17 or 18 was the last good one of the NHL games. Why is that? I think they just kind of took... I think it's because they took risks, to be honest with you. I think they took risks, they fumbled the ball, and they screwed it up. Like, my favorite thing about those games is the presentation.
Did you use a football analogy for a hockey game?
I did.
Did I just point that out?
They knuckle pucked it. All right, but let's get out of this conversation, because honestly, I don't know. The worst fucking thing in the world for sports video games is for one company to have an exclusive license to make them. It's the shittiest thing.
See, that's the problem. If we had competing franchises, then you can say, how can we make ours better than the other guys' game? Not, well, we're the only one on the market, so whatever.
Yeah. And the best thing,
it's fart noises all day long,
is, well, or not the best thing, but like when you think about MLB The Show. MLB The Show had competition, got so good that the competition literally stopped fucking trying. They said, okay, no more baseball games for us because we can't beat them.
MLB The Show is consistently good every single year.
But the option is still there. Other people can still make a baseball game with MLB players. They just don't try because MLB The Show was that good, but they always have that. They always have that little monkey on the shoulder.
That's a good point.
They always have that thing where like anybody can make one, anybody can be better than us.
Right.
Let's do it right. Let's do it right every single year. But and again, Buzz in the chat, NBA 2K was the same way. 2K was eating NBA Live's lunch, right?
They were.
So NBA Live was like, okay, we're done. we're not doing this anymore.
We just can't get it right.
we suck at this. We're not doing well. But now you're starting to see both the show, like the last show that came out, I think did have some problems. And then they announced that they're going to be going multi-platform with it. So who knows what troubles that might bring. I don't know. I just think you cannot have exclusivity. It's the dumbest shit for gamers, consumers, and really the people making the game too, because you're not going to be able to take risks as a developer. You can't.
And freaking Star Wars,
right?
You know,
right.
All right.
All right. So we are halfway through.
Actually ties into the next topic really nicely, by the way.
It does. It does. But you know what? We're going to give away that first code.
Oh shit! Here we go.
because it's the third thing, but there's only one person in the raffle. So I'm not doing this until people that are watching right now get in this raffle. So get in it. Press ! Raffle. Get in the raffle, and we're going to move on to the next story. But we are definitely going to give at least one of these away on the show. If I don't get enough people in here, we'll give one away only during the show, and then we'll do the other one on Twitter. Okay, so yeah, this is interesting. Speaking of shitty companies doing shitty things and then not doing shitty things and all this stuff. So this is coming from Bloomberg. AT&T is scrapping the sale of Warner Brothers video game unit. AT&T Inc. has removed its Warner Brothers video game business from the list of non-core assets up for sale, deciding it was too valuable to unload during its effort to pay down debt and streamline, according to people familiar with the situation. Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment, the gaming unit, is home to titles like Harry Potter, Wizards Unite, Mortal Kombat 11, has attracted interest from several major companies and could have reaped $4 billion. That's billion with a B. As reported by CNBC in June. But AT&T balked, given the business's growth potential, said the people asking not to be identified because of because the information is private.
Yeah, dude. We spoke about this when they unveiled Suicide Squad and Gotham Knights.
We talked about it before that because I said, wait till you announce this shit. Because once you do, the value is going to go up,
dude. If you just if you just look at game sales and hardware sales in these last 4 or 5 months, thriving. Gaming is thriving more than anything else right now. It's the hot shit.
Yep.
You would be foolish to sell Mortal Kombat alone. I think a Batman on top of that. Hold on to that AT&T. That's going to make you money hand over fist, and you know this.
Yep.
And I'm glad.
I'm glad. I think this was. I think it's very possible that this was a very sly maneuver on their part to increase the value of the stock. You know what I mean? Like maybe this was a way for them to gauge interest, to show investors we could get $4 billion for this. And that isn't even enough money. You know, what I think they should do, I'm not super brain about this kind of thing, but I think Amazon recently diversified their stock, broke up something into 3 different parts. I forget what it was. It might not even have been Amazon, but I know that I listened to that Snacks podcast. Do you listen to that? It's an NPR all about stocks and like stuff like that. But one of the big companies you basically break it up, your stock, into smaller chunks so it's affordable to more people. So you're still buying stock.
Stock split, basically.
Yeah, you're still buying the same. You're still buying shares in AT&T, but it's under a smaller, like, let's say AT&T is $100 and they split it up. The WB gaming division is $25 a share. You could still buy $25 a share. You're buying essentially a quarter share of AT&T by buying only the WB one. So you know what I mean? So maybe that's what they're going to do. Maybe they're just going to diversify it and they're going to break it up so that they could sell more stock for the video game portion. I don't know. Those big brain people, the reason why they make $60 billion a year as in bonuses is because they make these decisions.
In bonuses.
You want to cry. I know, right? It's because they know how to make these decisions. But I mean, if there's one word or 2 words that could explain this story, it's no duh.
Right. You have freaking Batman of all things. Batman. There's a new movie coming out.
Doy.
Like, why wouldn't you? What? I think you're right with the whole let's have this illusion of, well, we might be up for sale. How much are we really worth? It was like when I think it was Grubhub or Seamless was talking about acquiring some other similar company, and then their stock like shot up just because of conversations. No actual sale, no pen to paper, nothing at all, just having a conversation, a discussion, and the stock just shot up. This stock is all psychological. It's just how you think things are going to shift. And you can say, well, if we say this about this, it's going to make people think, ooh, now this has value. I'll buy more of that, and then you go up. But I'm glad this is staying in house with AT&T. The idea of EA or Activision owning these properties makes me like skeeved out to no end, like skin crawling sensations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad it's there. I could use less microtransactions for Batman. Like, don't lean into the or less grindy shit like Mortal Kombat 11. Like, just
Arkham Knights is an RPG. Did you know that?
It was classified as an RPG.
It's gonna have numbers popping over the enemies' heads. And
you mean Gotham Knights?
Up and skill.
Gotham Knight.
Yeah, Gotham Knights.
I thought you said Batman Arkham. I said Arkham Knight. I was like Arkham Knight.
Gotham Knights.
That game came out a while ago.
Gotham Knights. I was just thinking Arkham because Batman. But yeah, Gotham Knights is going to be RPG.
Yeah, I think it's a lot like Marvel Avengers. Do skill trees, stats, leveling up, all that fun stuff. Like I said last time, I'm more excited for that game than I am with Marvel. And I'm playing Marvel now.
Let's talk about this next story. This is an interesting one. Because I have tinfoil hat theories.
Ooh.
And I also have what's more probable.
And I came with stats. Just to say how little this really matters to any of us. Okay. So Ubisoft was asked about Ubisoft. Yves Guillemot was asked. No.
Yves
was asked about PS4 games and PS5 in that transition. And the question was, how does upgrading from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5 work? Which this seems kind of duh to me too. Like, like Valhalla said, if you buy the game on PS4, you get the upgrade for free on PS5. And if not, the old games that are on PS4, they're at least playable on PS5. So the answer was, as part of their, which is Sony, next-gen upgrade process in a different font for some reason, not sure why that's happening, PlayStation offer a number of features designed to help you move from PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5. PlayStation 4 players will be able to join multiplayer games with PlayStation 5 players. Great. That sounds like a great answer. End of story. But they felt the need to add this tidbit. Backwards compatibility will be available for supported PS4 titles, but will not be possible for PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, or PlayStation games. And then everyone lost their collective shit and said, oh boy, they just confirmed no legacy BC on PlayStation 5. This was since removed in an update, so anything mentioning BC was just X'd out completely, and just, of course, answer the question at hand. And I wonder, why did they feel the need to add that tidbit when it doesn't apply to the question at hand? Don't get it. Don't get it. But yeah, so everyone's like, uh-oh, I can't put my PS1 disc on my PS5, even though it can't read CD-ROMs anyway. So let me hear your tinfoil hat, and I'll give you some stats to break this down.
So my tinfoil hat thing, and we've mentioned that a cool way for BC to work here, like if you have the disc, would be something along the lines of using PS Now for your physical collection. Basically, you put the disc in, it could tell what game it is or whatever, and then it downloads the game from PS Now onto your hard drive, and you don't whatever. So like I feel like that would be something cool. I think that the reason that this was, I think the reason why Ubisoft said that is because Sony has not. I think Sony wants more money from developers. I think if Sony is going to do the PS Now work to get a game to run on that service or whatever, they're either going to put the onus on the developer and then take a fee, or they're going to ask them, up front, if you want to be on the service, here's what it costs, for whatever reason. I think that might be the reason that they're not necessarily talking about it yet, because they don't know who's going to be a part of that yet. They don't know if everybody's going to put every game, or if it's going to be a supported list. Like, I'm okay if it doesn't up-res anything. I don't need it to be, they need to figure out if the thing is going to work for everything. They could do PS Now level emulation. That's fine. That to me would be great, because there are games in my backlog, or not in my backlog, in my collection, that would be great for, streaming. Like, oh, I'd love to play this old game that I have, and I don't want to buy it again for $20 on PS Now or whatever.
Which is
I
just
own it already,
games, more or less. It's only a handful at that.
Yeah, but what I think really happened,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're calling it backwards compatibility, and I think that's the only reason why.
They're going to be rebranding of this. Is that what
I think there's going to be some sort of fucking buzzword, because it's not true backwards compatibility, and I think they told Ubisoft, hey, we're not ready to talk about any of this yet. We're still, figuring out branding or whatever for this, or how we're going to communicate it. Can you please take that down? It's not backwards compatibility. They're even saying, nobody's saying that this is backwards compatibility, PS4 to PS5. They're calling it forward compatibility, right? Like that. They're calling it a little something. They're calling it an upgrade process.
They're going to call it genius transportation.
Yeah. Transfarring.
Oh, stop it. I hate you for putting that back in my brain.
So I just think that I don't think they're ready to talk about what this is going to be called. And I know most gamers, an overwhelming amount of gamers, do not use any backward compatibility whatsoever.
So that is going to be my facts portion of this segment.
Yes. And
my whole stance on BC has always been this. I have tons of games for the PS1, PS2, PS3. It would be nice to have a box that could put the disc in and play it. It would be great.
Yes.
But the numbers tell us that it's not a huge deal for most gamers. Right. Now, BC for Xbox One had 500 million hours played just of their old library.
Right.
In 2018, I want to say. 2019, that doubled to almost a billion hours played, just in the backwards compatibility catalog.
Right.
Sounds like a lot. It's a billion hours, guys. It's folks are playing it. Fortnite, August of this year alone, has 32 billion hours played. Say it again. Fortnite has 32 billion hours played in 1 month. Now, again, that's a huge game. It's on all systems. It's on mobile phones, unless it's Apple, of course. But just to put this in perspective, like, it sounds like a lot, but it's not a huge deal. And also, PlayStation fans have been buying PS4s without the entire back catalog. That's not a barrier of entry for them. It's not like, okay, if you can't do this service for me, I'm not buying your system.
Right.
Not a huge deal. Now, when you're talking PS4 to PS5 to PS5 compatibility, that's an issue, because that's a huge chunk of your games. More folks are buying games now digitally, especially in the more recent months.
That's
you want
the
those
main
on the new console. That you got to do, 100%.
Yep.
Plus connection upgrades, yada yada. But the old stuff, PS3 and back, again, it would be great. I'd love it. I want it, but I'm still buying a PS5. It's not a huge deal. But your thinking, your tinfoil hatness makes that much sense, and it makes me buy into it. We're not going to call it that. We'll call it its own thing.
Right.
See it.
No, it's not going to work that way. It's only going to be if you want it to be on there, because you guys have to buy into it. But we're not ready to talk about that with developers yet, because we want to focus on the new games first. Like that could be, and they've done that in other avenues where they're like, we don't want to talk about PS5 yet because we want these late gen PS4 games to breathe,
right?
To have their spotlight. So they are very stingy with what they talk about when they talk about it. So I think it's very much possible.
And my thought's always been, to be honest, if they can't do the full blown put your CD in and play the game, which you can for PS1 games, honestly, you should do legacy games on PS Now or PS Plus. Like, here's 2 PS1 games for the month. Like, get some emulation working for you.
Yeah. Figure
that out and just offer legacy games as part of the monthly bundle. I'm down for that.
Yeah. So you mentioned not being able to play Fortnite on Apple.
Segues work so masterfully.
Well, guess what? Epic Games has asked the court once more to reinstate Fortnite to Apple's App Store after
now?
daily iOS players dropped over 60%.
Oh no!
Talk about tail between your legs.
Super rich or less rich?
Oh my god! They are.
And this was the biggest platform too. Oh, you're fucked, dude.
Oh, man. Okay, so Epic says that iOS is the biggest platform for Fortnite with over 116 million registered users, almost a third of its 350 million registered users. Furthermore, Epic claims 63% of Fortnite players on iOS only access Fortnite on Apple devices. Epic is worried it may never see these users again, and that its Fortnite community has been torn apart. Additionally,
they won't see that money again, is what that translates to.
Yes. Additionally, since Apple has terminated Epic's developer account, its other games and those players looking to play those titles are also impacted. It also reads that Apple is threatening to deny any attempts by Epic to apply for a new developer account for at least a year. This is a big issue for Epic if it was denied the opportunity to access even a single new users among the 1 billion plus iOS users for at least the next year. They took a very, very ballsy, calculated risk to kind of this isn't David versus Goliath, so don't pretend that it is.
This is the Godzilla versus Mothra let them fight scenario. It's just two monsters fighting each other, more or less.
This is and I'm inclined to think Epic is the Godzilla here because I feel like Apple is kind of causing collateral damage, or maybe not. Maybe it is the other way. I don't know. No, because Godzilla creates collateral damage too.
Right.
It's weird. You know what it is? It's like Megazord versus the fucking Rita Repulsa fucking giant shit. And they're just knocking buildings over in Angel Grove for like 16 years. People are dying. Things are exploding. The power plant has been destroyed how many times now? And
the same goddamn plant.
But man, that monster is gonna get beat. Hopefully, maybe someday. Hopefully,
population just take 1,000 down the day minus the death toll.
The way I look at this is like, oops. You know, like, oh boy, we really did a thing here. Please help us, courts, because we really made a big boo-boo.
They really did, dude. I feel like this is when you overstep a little bit, because I understand Epic's point of view when this whole thing started. It was like, how far can we push this to guarantee that we can make all the profit with our content on the Apple Store? And then when shit goes sideways, now it's like almost half, if not more so, of your player base exists on that platform.
Yep.
How do you walk that back? Apple can say, screw off. Okay, good. Be gone with you. Like, you can talk about anti-consumerism, or you're splitting the player base, or there shouldn't be a monopoly of an iOS market only on Apple products. You can have that debate. Because as discussed with, the whole sports games, monopolies suck. And this is one of the reasons why it creates tyranny in a sense. But at the end of the day, Apple can say, well, you not being here doesn't hurt us in any way. We're still a massive company. You can go away. It's fine. Bye. And Epic is now like, shit, we did not think this through.
It's you know what I'm wondering? I'm wondering if they did think it through and they know that legal precedent prior to this issue has ruled in their
favor.
Not them specifically, but like their side of the argument.
You're right.
And they were probably just like they probably just didn't think it was going to take this long, or they didn't realize that the consequences would be this dire this quickly.
Right, and it's not as black and white as it may seem. So I think that's also you can make a case for both sides of who's right and wrong in this.
Right.
I think that's why it's stalled. It's not a clear cut. Well, Apple's in the wrong here. Apple, stop fucking around. Don't let them do their thing. The Supreme Court decision would have to go against precedent to reward Apple in this situation. They very rarely do that, because what you would be doing is you'd be going against a previous Supreme Court ruling.
I don't know how it works in the UK because they have their own legal thing going, but they also have made decisions in a similar way to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're talking about like general marketplace monopolies, like ecosystem specific marketplaces that could only be put on specific hardware.
Right. But if one would say, listen, Apple, like we've looked at similar cases, and again, citing precedent, that's how most laws and the decisions are made. They can say, you have to stop fucking around. Epic is entitled to their full cut, and the story. You can't be like the be-all end-all for iOS. Can Apple just say, we're fine with that, but we're not letting Epic go on our marketplace, period? Can they say that as Apple, as a private company? Well, they're not private, they're publicly traded. So can they say, all right, Epic, get out. We don't want you here.
I think yes.
Bypass all this bullshit.
Yes, I think they can. I think that they ultimately will. I think that's what's going to end up happening. Unless Epic makes some sort of make good type of situation. Because remember, Epic has a restraining order on Apple.
Right. Jesus Christ.
A weird, it's just a weird battle of like egos and
it's going to come down to who stands to lose more. If Apple can be like, you know what, we will lose money on this situation, but it won't hurt us. And Epic is like, that's 70% of our profits that we would take in normally. It's either that or nothing. Can we walk away from this?
They don't forget in what Epic is doing and what Epic does, they're still pretty fucking safe. Like,
oh, of course,
sell just
right. They're not hurting. It's just, again, it's a huge chunk of money that they're going to miss.
It's going to hurt. It might hurt them in 10 years from now.
Right.
Like when people aren't using their engine to develop on iPhone anymore.
Right.
But this could also be a siren. Or canary in the coal mine, as it were, for other developers that may not want to be a part of Apple because they see that Apple has the ability to cut them off for frivolous reasons.
Right, and that's the beauty of an open free market. They can say, I don't like what they're doing, Apple. Right. You can screw off.
Right.
Have your own coalition of developers who don't put their stuff on Apple and just put it everywhere else.
And then that will possibly it's basically a protest. It's a boycott.
Right. It'll take a huge push though. Like a lot of developers have to
and that's something you could see, like Unity could join this whole situation. If they did that, oh my god. And you know how many developers, I mean, it would cripple the iPhone game market. Like it would cripple it. All I have to do is say, yeah, no, Epic's right about this.
Yeah.
We're with them.
That's like
now what?
Apple Arcade in a heartbeat at that point.
Yeah, now what? And then Apple would be like, well, fuck it. Okay, we'll take 10%. Like, like it could just be like, we'll take 10% and only make $37 billion this year. Like, it's just, like, honestly, it's like, do we want to be a $1 trillion company or a $997 billion company? Damn it. Which one do we want to be?
Dude, you got to be a trillionaire because you can say we're a $1 trillion company.
Yep. Great.
It's just fun watching.
You can also say, hey, one of us executives, can you donate $3 billion so we can be a $1 trillion company?
I want to be richer, damn it.
Fuck it.
And we're like, can I afford to buy this and a PS5? Can I afford to pay rent and buy a PS5? That's where we're at.
Don't know. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. Andy.
Steven.
Take us into the hype zone, my friend.
Oh, my God. So Tony Hawk.
Take us into that sweet hype zone. Come on, let's do it.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yes.
Is out. Ooh. It's out. It's sweet. It's getting luscious reviews. Still delicious. Yeah. But when you talk about upgrading a game to current technology, you're taking a PS1 game, a decades-old game in the 90s.
1999.
You're bringing it to the forefront, to the current generation. Mm-hmm. You say, how do we make this more current?
Yes.
Is it the assets, the models? Mm-hmm. Is it the music? Is it the environments?
The boards, maybe the t-shirts.
Do we make the wood fibers on the boards unique and make them really stand out? You can count We want to make this so realistic that gamers get splinters while playing the game.
Yes.
You can go that way.
You could see the grit on the grip tape.
You can say yourself, can we utilize the 90 teraflops of Nvidia's hardware? You can say that to yourself, that's fine. But I think the best way to show that your game is current with the times.
How do we do it, Andy?
You take out an archaic method of transport payment.
Oh.
The New York City subway token. And replace it with the soon-to-be obsolete Metro card.
Yes. So that in 20 years from now, we could have it upgraded to the phones, and then right as we're getting eyeball retina scanned.
Yeah, well, I would say the wrist barcode is another option. You can
right, yeah, there's that one too. Yeah.
This is the future. This is the true face of innovation and forward thinking. When you sit down and say to yourself, this game has to be current. It has to be now. It has to be hip.
Yeah.
And as native New Yorkers, we appreciate this.
We do. We love our Metro cards. No, that's a false statement. We hate Metro cards. We fucking hate them.
I have like 4 different kinds of tokens from like throughout the decades. My dad always saved the tokens.
My mom has tokens somewhere too.
Like the first kind of tokens, like from like the way days. Like they were like quarter size with no hole in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. The only ones I remember are like the penny-sized one with the little hexagonal hole or like something, or pentagon. I don't know.
Remember those like big deals? Like, oh my god, they got new tokens. They're different. They're cool.
Yay!
And you would lose them.
Yeah. And then they took quarters.
Right, they did.
Then they went to quarters and dollar bills, and then they went to Metro cards.
Like the bus, which is weird.
God, I remember taking the bus, and right when they installed the change taker and the dollar bill taker, like that's when I started high school. It was like 2000. That was before the Metro card. The Metro card came though, like right after that.
Right.
Like very quickly. Damn.
We're old, dude.
Life is crazy. How it changes.
We old talking about a fucking 20-year Tony Hawk game. We were fucking kids.
All right, this is when we're going to kick it to the chat. Chat, if you have anything you want to tell us live right here on twitch.tv/Duel Screen Streams, please let us know. I will also be scrolling up. But first, we're going to get into our Facebook group question of the week. Of course, you could join the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/DS podcasts. The question of the week this week was, do you like games as a service? Why or why not? Our first response was from our editor-in-chief over at Duel Screens. I almost said Proven Gamer.
You really did. I was going to smack you in the face.
Thornstone says no. I'd rather pay $100 for a complete game or $60, $70 plus $40 for a season pass for a fully fleshed out experience right out of the box. I'd rather pay $15 a month or some sort of subscription service for a game WoW style if it's going to be marketed as a games as a service. This past generation has shown that single player experiences along with other multiplayer focused experiences with a solid idea flourish over the half-baked games as a service model. It is definitely a fad in my opinion. And Matt Murray says, this is also my answer. Billy the Door says, it depends if it's icky. Apex does it well. Battlefront 2, not so much. Thorne actually replied to that saying there are definitely winners and losers, but I'd argue the practice itself is what creates the problem. Our friend over on Game Stuff, Joe Priestley, said, I think it had a massive impact on the industry. It changed the way games are distributed and marketed. The industry has pushed forfeits before actually making game developers want to make. I think he meant profits. Yes. Pushed profits before actually making game developers want to make. I don't know what he's trying to say there. It's leading developers to shoehorn this garbage in single player games, and it's leading to less games or games being piecemeal to consumers. Jim Lackram says, I do not. I typically play a small number of games for a long period of time, and often with long gaps in between. Games as a service just makes that outrageously expensive compared to, say, paying $20 to $60 one time and enjoying my purchase over the long haul. I feel the same way about software as a service in general. What they are doing with some games now is the same process that is more or less killed perpetual software licenses over the years. Not that software as a service doesn't have a place in the market. It makes sense in some cases, like if you need an app for a short-term project, but making everything a subscription, like some companies are doing, turns the whole software market into a digital rent-a-center. That's an interesting take because I think that speaks more to MMOs than it does games as a service. But it's still interesting. Caddy Aversa Fontana, so another Fontana, but no relation here.
Fascinating.
Indeed. I prefer to pay... Well, actually, I don't know that because the Fontanas were plentiful. I prefer to pay for a game entirely upfront. Subscription service games only work in the context of something like Game Pass, where an enormous amount of content is available for a monthly fee, rather than each game individually, because there isn't a good way to structure a licensing commitment that is fair to both player and developer. Again, thinking more along the MMO, which I think speaks to the confusion of what a games as a service really is. Mark Starvagi says, no, let me play everything your game has to offer, then leave it to move on to something else, unless it's Rocket League.
Little exception there. I love it.
My whole thing about games as a service, before we move on, is, and of course you could give your opinion here. It was a victim of circumstance. It was something that happened as a reaction to things that happened before it. Before all of this happened, we had $60, whatever it is, full price games. The games came out, and that was it, right?
Right.
Then what started to become prevalent with Final Fantasy XI and WoW, and maybe what was the other one? EverQuest? Yeah, EverQuest.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
You had games that are coming out full price with a subscription, and then coming out with DLC packs. So what video games started to do is they started to say, okay, like the AAA, single player experience. They said, okay, we can have a $60 game and then $20 DLC, just expansion packs, just like MMOs do, right? To get more money on top. Because what happened is people were buying the $60 games and then trading them in. They needed to figure out a way to stop people from buying used copies of their game. In order to do that, you have to support that game. If you support that game and people have to buy more content for it, they have to keep that game to buy the more content, right?
Makes sense.
Then the next step that happened was MMOs became too expensive for people to keep up with. So a lot of them went free to play with microtransactions to make up the difference, and of course paying for DLC expansions. So now you're getting in a game for free. You get to make one or two characters. Maybe the fourth, fifth, or sixth character slots are locked behind a $5 paywall.
Right.
So now you're starting to see the mobile marketplace emerge at the same time, where everything is free, and they're just packing in these tiny little microtransactions. So now the $60 manufacturers, the games that, your Tomb Raiders, your whatever, are saying, we're leaving money on the table by not including these options. We could have our cake and eat it, because we can make a $60 game, we could charge for DLC, the console manufacturers could charge a membership fee to play the game online, we could charge for microtransactions, and we can do all of this to prevent people from trading in our game. And that is where you get to games as a service. They don't want you to trade in their game, and they don't want to leave money on the table. So this weird mishmash of $60 AAA game, MMO subscription service stuff, and free-to-play mobile marketplace all smashed into one game. And that's what games as a service is.
Nightmare.
That's why it's so ugly. That's why we don't like it.
Monster, basically.
Right. That, in my opinion, is what happened. That's what I don't like about it. I like Apex Legends. It's a free game. I choose to support it monetarily. It is And they make a shit ton of money because people are choosing to do that because it's a good game.
Right. And you'll still enjoy it when it's free without buying anything. Also, you can still play the game as with your friends.
You still get your 6 characters or whatever it is that you could play with the baseline characters. I only play with the baseline characters anyway.
And I lean more towards, I'm all for expansions and playing different things for a base game, but like a long-term commitment and you're pricing it out over how many months, even years. Like when Destiny was first announced, it was like, it's a 10-year commitment. It's like, oh my God, one game, 10 years? Are you fucking kidding with this shit? And I get
years later, Destiny 2 came out.
Yeah, I get the sense from Marvel too. It's a long-term game with them. And I'm afraid for
it should be, yeah.
I'm afraid for even Halo might go that route too. With a more of a long-term, like, okay, it's Halo Infinite, and it's more of this for the next 5-6 years, basically.
If they had a coherent vision for those games and didn't, like Destiny gets it wrong all the time. Why? Learn from what you just did. You had something that worked, and then you didn't continue it. Anyway, Buzz Killington in the chat says Apex is games of service. That's my point. It's a games of service that doesn't charge you an entry fee. It doesn't charge you like the Avengers is charging you, but it's still doing the microtransactions that Apex is doing for cosmetics. It may not be doing character unlocks, but you have to do the season passes for those character unlocks. It's just taking these bits and pieces. I don't look at Apex Legends really as a games as a service. I look at it as a free to start type game, you know? You know, like when they say, oh, it's free to start, free to play, for whatever. I don't know. For me, games as a service is you have an entry fee, you get in, and the game constantly evolves. The problem is the game evolving is costing you money also.
Right. And then you're like, shit, I spent $1,000 on one game.
Right. Exactly. Yes, that's exactly it.
Altogether.
But that is going to bring us to the end of the show.
That was a long show and a great show.
It was a good show. It was a good show. I had a good time. So thank you. I want to say right off, before we get into our housekeeping, I want to say thank you to our new subscribers here on the twitch.tv/Duel Screen Streams. Vegas Girl on Fire has subscribed. Buzz Killington has renewed his subscription. And we also got The Grounded Gamer gave us a follow while we were on the air. So thank you so much for that. If you want to follow us on social media, you could do so at NDS Podcast. I am at Batchild27. Andy is at Pants Guy, and our Facebook group is facebook.com/groups/DS Podcasts. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to give away our copy of Smashball.
There's a few raffles in there. Can we get a few more? Come on, folks. I know you're in there.
So there are only 3 of you that are in this chat. There are more people in the chat. There we go. We got another one.
There it is.
We're going to give this away. So drum rolls. Drum rolls, everybody. Drum them rolls. Drum them rolls. We're going to give away 1 copy here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know what? No. F that. I'm rewarding our chat. We're giving away both.
Yeah, let's give them both away. As long as it doesn't go to Buzz, I'm all for it.
Yeah. He's got a 25% chance.
Yeah, we got to do a reroll on that die.
Now here's the thing, Andy. This game is not out yet.
Right. So just so you can say, this is the perks you get when you have a high quality podcast.
High quality.
And devs just give you stuff for free.
High
and you want to reward that to your listeners. Because we're all about sharing the wealth.
Indeed. So let's do it right here. We're going to pick this winner right here on this podcast. We're going to close these entries. They're closed. That's it. It's done.
Right.
And here we go.
Oh boy.
It's Thick.
Oh shit.
Our Thick boy has won a copy.
Thick boy has won a copy. Let's
pick the other one. Here it comes.
Here we go.
It's coming right now. Here it comes. Buzz Killington.
Motherfucker.
Buzz Killington. God damn it. God damn it. God damn it, Buzz Killington.
You know, you suck it, Buzz. I'm going to give you listen, Buzz, you're going to get the code, but it's the all scrambled order of the numbers and letters, so you got to figure it out.
Yeah, you'll have to figure it out, yeah. Thank you to Zazu Pitts for our theme song. 16-bit attack. Thank you, Matt Murray, for our logo and overlay. Thank you, Andrew Douglas, for all of our cartoon art. Again, please support us at patreon.com/NDS podcast. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, chat. Thank you, listeners. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below. And as always, please be excellent to each other.